Vincenzo's Gold Crypto Investing, and a quick update here. We're going to do an altcoin update this time. And you can see we've had some crashing prices today, as to be expected, as we've been forecasting, and is no surprise to Vincenzo's Gold Crypto Investing, right? And you can see those targets we went over earlier. As we zoom in here a little bit closer, you can see our initial underneath target is 81 cents. Our second underneath target is 75 cents. And then our double bottom low at 57 cents. Those are your underneath targets where you're going next. So pay attention to 81 for a little bit of a bounce and then a flush. Then 75 cents, there could be a little bit of a bounce, right? Then a flush. And what I mean by a little bit of a bounce, right, as we zoom out a little bit, is, and then we zoom back in, and is if you come down here and you flash down here a little bit, come down quick to 81 cents, and you get a little bit of a bounce back up like that. Maybe you back test this upper resistance now that was trying to act as lower support, and then you come down lower to the next level at 72, and then the buyers come and you get a little bit of a bounce back into this traded area, and then get rejected, and you trade lower to your next underneath support down here at 57 cents, and then you get a bounce back up to here, and possibly a rejection like that, right? It doesn't go straight down like that, right? Usually how it did with this big flash crash where we had a massive liquidation, and essentially this was telling you there was a structural change in the overall market again to the bearish trend, right? And this is where I think you're going in a step down fashion in XRP, right? So let's move to the altcoins now that we've established some XRP there. We'll look at Dent for Jerome. You can see Jerome. We are in the 3-hour time frame, and we broke back below now the 200 days, so we're bearish again, right? See that we got rejected by that upper resistance on the 24th of December on Christmas, right? See that we got rejected, and now we're trying to hold support on the 200 day, but it's closed below it, so this is trending bearish now, right? And if we can't get back above that real quick to make a big jump up to kind of fill this little dip up here and then start trading down, if we get rejected, if you slip here, you're coming right back down to your underneath support, Jerome, down here. So we know not to be into this now. The buying spot was right here when you broke above the 200 day in the 3 and 4 hour time frame, and then your upper resistance was laid out. Your first area at the green line and your second area at the bottom end of this volume indicator trading. But a safe play would have been buying the breakout, and then your first would have been 20%, where you would sell your first overhead resistance and then be out up here if it ever got up there at 34% up, right? So you had a safe 20% move there from buying the breakout to letting it pump. And then as soon as it did this, that's when you get out, right? You get all out in here. And then it even gave you extended amount of time for a few days, all the way to the 27th, before it finally had this flush right there, right? And that would have took all your profit away if you didn't sell before that. But now you should be out because we dipped below the 200 day, and that to us is telling us it's bearish. And your next underneath target, if you can't get any buyers coming in and just have this as a little fake out, your next underneath support is down here at 0.00106, the lower support. Now that used to be upper resistance in this falling channel that we were in, right? So that's what's going on there, Jerome, and all my Dent followers. You can see Rmrk has had a humongous flush, and we are again bearish in here. And this did do pretty much what we thought, as it would broke out when we were in here. Remember that? We told you what they like to do is come back test now this as major upper resistance from this rising channel that we were in, and then we looked like we broke out of it, right, and came to a moving average in the shorter time frame. I thought it would come down a little bit more before we did it, because it usually likes to do something like that to be more prototypical. But this still did it, and you can see it back tested this for a few days, and now we've slipped below that 200 day into 3 hour, and that's very bearish. And now what often happens, right, is now it's going to come down to that $26, just as we were forecasting, and that's why we weren't jumping in on thinking this was going to buy back up from here back up to this $85 upper resistance, because we think we're in a head and shoulders topping reversal pattern, and this is the right shoulder. See, you got the left shoulder. Let's get these ugly ones out. You got the left shoulder over here, right, that peaked out at about $39. You got the head right here that peaked out at about $69. Funny how it ends up like that. And then you got your right shoulder so far that is peaked out right here at about $43, right? So, oh, we already have a marker there. At about $43. And now you're hitting the 200-day moving average, you're below that at $39. So that's major upper resistance now, and you're coming down to the 26-cent level. Would be where I think you're coming, and you can see this to me is the right shoulder that is formed here, right? We didn't get quite as high as the last. Yeah, we got kind of close. We just didn't start from as far. It's just a little bit tighter of a range, and then you would have a neckline like this, right? There would be your horizontal neckline on an angle, and then your targeted move would be from the top of the head to the neckline, and then you would drag that to the point of a breakout, right? And because the scale is so big, it looks like that because this price came from almost nothing to where it's at. This is a big spread. So essentially an easier way to do this without getting too complicated is you're looking at a 54% fall, right? So a 54% fall from the neckline brings us right about there, which has a lot of confluency with other things going on the chart, right? It brings you right to about there as your targeted move. A 54% flush from about the $34 neckline brings you back to your major support and resistance here. We had resistance, and it gets you almost right on. Maybe now as we've added some more price action. Oh yeah, we've added a lot more price action. This might actually be up a little bit. No, it's still in the same spot. You can see this brings you right to a major volume area where you have to see this big gap right there in the volume indicator. This huge gap right here. All the way down to right here where you finally get a big volume where there's buyers. The green's buyers, right? And that's way down here. And that's why you would have a quick flush right there, because there's not a lot of trading there. And that's why I think you're about to break down. Just like where this move puts you up there, there's no trading in there. So on the way down, the price can flush right through it. And then your underneath target would be at the middle of this, eventually, at the middle of the volume indicator, traded major volumes, traded range where all the buyers would be at $8.82. So we'll keep an eye on this. I think Rmrk is about to have a huge flush, right? If we're in, before I forget, Falcon, I don't know if you're still in this, but it's going south, and it's going south quick. I know you got bought in up here. To me, if you feel, I haven't done any research on what this coin is other than the chart, and now the chart is broke down bearish, what we've been watching for, because all we can do with the chart, this is a very new coin. There's almost no information with it, and the only information we have is price action, and there's not a lot of it, right? So I hope you've done your research on this coin, because this, to me, looks like you're coming much, much lower now, right? You can see we're below the major volume traded area. You can see it's actually, that's the technical target up there. And then the major volume down here, you've broken below it, so that's bearish. So you could be looking at coming down much, much further if we extend this. Come on. Come on. If we extend this out into the future more, you can see if we had a flash crash, that would be a spot where you could come down on a bottom. Or if we dragged this one over, right, it's the same area. This is your next bottom, your underneath support. But right now, the floor is the bottom because we don't know. There hasn't been very much trading down here. You see how there's no candles? There's barely anything going on there, right? I don't think the price has really ever been down here because the coin's new. But if you flush down, you could come all the way down here to this old support line that was acting as resistance up there, right? Because you've traded sideways out of that, and now you've broken below this key area that you're holding support on right here on top of the volume indicator where you bounced once, twice, 3, 4, and then 5, and now you flush below it. When you're below this, you're very bearish, right? Because that's all sell pressure. Now if you come back up here, it's going to act to flush it, right? So this coin's looking very, very bearish, and the underneath target is the floor because there's no price action down here. So I would say your first underneath support would be something like down here, because if we zoom in here, you can see there was a little bit of trading right there. So that could be an area of underneath support for you, right around here at the 19-20 cent level, right? So we're going to keep an eye on that. We'll put a little marker here because it's almost impossible to see. That could be an area of support where if you dip down, this is really your last area where any buyers would be, or any kind of support that you could try before there's just a scared flush, maybe forcing you below 10 cents and ultimately under a penny in this. Or there could be some buyers here where you can build a base and start to come back up. But the overall market is very bearish right now, and this coin seems to be hitting especially hard. So I hope you've done your homework and you have an understanding on what's going on in that coin, and hopefully there's some substance to that coin, and in the future that actually might turn out to be something, right? So you just got to stick it in there. But this coin now, Nord, it's having a huge flush. It's traded out of this ring, and to me, your next underneath target is way down here at about $1.92, as we had that head and shoulders topping reversal pattern that it filled and fulfilled the pattern, right? We got rejected off the blue ring once at $7.18, $6.25, and then again at $4.69, and now we're below the 200-day moving average, rejected once, twice, three, four, very bearish, because when you're below it, it's bearish, and it's acting as very bearish right now. And your next underneath target is down here at $1.92. I'm very bearish on this coin. I think this has a date with a quick drop to the bottom part of this volume indicator, and if there's no buyers here to try to get you at least back to here, and then more than likely rejected, but you could play it from there. If you break below this major volume area, there's nothing left until a quick flash crash all the way down to 53 cents, and we're going to mark that with a little price label, as this blue ring could be, a lot of buyers are at 41 cents, but that's a substantial flush from where you're at now. That is a 88% crash, and from here, if you broke this major volume indicator area and got bearish, that is a 78% crash from just right there. So we're going to keep an eye on that, but I'm very bearish in Nord right now. And now we're going to end out this altcoin update with Ravencoin, as we've been very bearish on this, and the ring system here has been giving us very good price action, right? But you can see we haven't been in here in a while because we got all these ugly ass motherfuckers in here. Subscribe and like to the channel to help you fleece, heist, and shice. The fleece, heisters, and shysters, and audible, and overt, and subvert, the subverters and overters, and walk away with all the fucking money, right? And you can see in this, we've been going from red ring to blue ring, right? And we've been getting rejected on every wick. What we got circled up here is where we get rejected on the red ring on each wick on a breakup, 0.002 cents. And then we did it again right there. And then we did it again. This one's so small you can't even see it. But we did it again right in here. And then on this flash pop up, we got rejected off that ring again, right? And then we did it to a lesser extent almost right there, right, on a big wick. But right now what I'm looking at in Ravencoin is no flash pumps up, but I'm looking at the next underneath target, as we got your falling channel, right? Right there, and then we have a green ring, an orange ring, and your blue, and you have an orange, a green, and your downtrending falling wedge. So this is, to me, where this price is going. You got three areas of underneath support. As soon as you break this, we've been in this consolidation. The last few times we talked about it, we told you were going to trade kind of into this little pattern right here, as you were forming sort of a descending triangle with this duck's beak. And then if you did a targeted move, it is right there. And that makes perfect sense how all those support resistance lines, major areas, are telling you where price in the past has had major things happen. That is where I think this price is coming. And that from current price is a phenomenal 20% crash. And I think that's where you're going in Ravencoin. And then if you break that, you're going down to the blue ring, which is 0.005 cents. On any kind of chance that you break up, your first overhead resistance major would be way up here at 0.01558 on this red ring, just as all these other ones have rejected it as. And then the blue rings have acted as support, the red rings have acted as resistance, right? You can see red resistance, blue support, 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 red resistance, 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 right? So that's what's going on there. Like, subscribe, and share to Vincenzo's Gold Crypto Investing. Peace and love. Peace and love.